Fellow tennis nerds, I hope you are well. Welcome to this Babolat Pure Aero 2026 review dealing with the 100 and the 98. I will do separate reviews when I have the retail cosmetic. This is the prototype. It's the same racket, just a different cosmetic. I have tried these frames alongside my tennis buddies for quite a few months and we are impressed, but more about why and some pros and cons later in the review. We start with what's new both on the 100 and the 98, and Babolat, they have been very gutsy. It's a best-selling racket alongside the Wilson Blade, the most popular racket. 14 players I counted using it on the ATP Top 100. Says pretty much everything. We've had some pretty hyped up switches to the Aero 98 in recent years as well. They've still gone and done some changes to it.
I guess the first thing that stuck out to me was the change of the mold, and you can see it right away in the throat. They've changed the design actually, which it's been known for its unique shape for a while.
This used to be the shape, right, like more flat here.
Yep.
And now it's really trying to be more aerodynamic, and they say it's 6% faster through the air as well.
I don't know if it went 6% faster for me today, but I liked them.
So the throat is supposed to give the frame 6% more aerodynamic capabilities. So they use data a lot here. Sometimes we can be skeptical about data, but data generally is what they should use when they develop new products. 6% better aerodynamic properties with this type of throat design. It makes some sense. Feels better when you're holding it for the one-handed backhand, I must say. I'm not sure it makes the racket whippier or faster on its axis, but if you've seen the Tennis Warehouse reviews, they've done some data tests with the Zenith system, which I've also reviewed, and they seem to actually be generating a bit more spin with the new Aeros over the 2023.
Adri has been comparing it with the 2023 98, and what are your thoughts for like the 98s here? They are different, which is a bit of a surprise. You thought like they would stick to a winning concept, but this throat and this throat, they are very, very different. Okay, Adri, what is your feeling like if you compare these?
I've just been hitting them side by side. I mean, before even hitting them, just by looking at them, they are very different in terms of shape. You can clearly see on the previous model, it's like a V shape here on the throat.
Yeah.
While here, there's like you can see on the throat is like kind of squarey.
And
squared
here they kind of like look like they're gonna be more aerodynamic here because it's kind of like bends over there.
And then the same like here, it's flat on the inside.
Yeah.
But then it's like triangular on the outside. But on this one, it's triangular on the inside, but then flat on the outside, or like rounded. So like they've actually quite changed the shape of the frame, which is surprising because also in here, on the inside here, it's also different on both, which is strange because it's such a successful racket these days. So many pros changing to it.
2023 98 was and maybe is still my favorite racket, but we'll get to that. So this whole design should generate about 3% more RPMs, so revolutions per minute. Obviously very data driven. Tennis is a lot about feel, performance, confidence, connection to the racket, and that's what we need to get into as well. And that's probably why you should demo. Good to watch reviews. If you can demo, you will know if it works for you or not, because it's very, very personal with a racket. But overall, I think so many people will like this update, the 100 and the 98. Overall, they've been a hit with Tennis Nerd playtesters. What else is new? They have Flax Tech 2.0, so an updated version to their like vibration filtering system. You have it in the handle here on the 100. They have it at 3 and 9 on the 98. And it seems to really do its job. It's a cleaner feel, less vibrations, better comfort. And I think for the 98 users out there, you probably love that frame. It has something magic to it, but you might have arm issues or you feel the stiffness of the frame. In this case, I haven't felt anything on either the 100 or the 98, so they have solved that problem. Obviously, everything comes with compromises. You might still want to get the 2023 feel or prefer that, but most testers here like the 2026, which is the version 9 of the Aero. Specifications, they are generally unchanged for both rackets. As you can see them on the screen, stiffness pretty much the same, swing weights very similar, no reason to change what isn't broken. I think they improved what they needed to improve, meaning comfort, which is the main thing. They have a bit more power in these frames, whether you like it or not. and you have more directional control on both of the rackets. And I think that is important. I think a lot of players struggle to flatten out the shots with the 98 and the 100. They felt that they always needed to kind of whip the ball with extra rotations to make sure it dips in. In this case, it has this kind of last second dip in ability also on flat shots. So if you flatten out the ball seems to just dip in at the last second, which is very frustrating if you play against a player that has that kind of thing. It lands on the outside line or just before the line. And yeah, that can be very good for you and very bad for your opponent. So it seems to have that ability, flattening out shots, going for a bit more of an aggressive approach, seems to work better with these new arrows over the last ones. So if we take them racket by racket, we start with the Aero 100. More power, cleaner feel, better comfort. Overall, I feel like just a better racket than the predecessor. I feel like that one had a bit of a more like soft muted feel, which you might like. So then it might not be like a clear change, but overall, it's a lot to like about this frame. I feel like it's almost moving towards an E-zone racket these days because the string bed is so dense. It is quite a dense string bed, as you can see, for a spin racket. If you want a more open string bed like the 2019 or 2016 arrows, you would have to go for the lighter model and maybe add some weight. So you can go for the light or the T models. They will have more open patterns, but this one, quite controlled on flat shots. You can play some directional tennis with this one and it does the job. Pretty forgiving sweet spot, I would say. And overall, solid performance. Maybe somewhat string sensitive, like it works better with some strings than others, I would say. RPM blast, it worked great. I think even all the power here, it worked pretty great. But you need to obviously always dial in the string and the racket so it works together. But the Aero 100, just I think overall better. I do prefer the feel of the previous generation. I must say, I felt like that feel was just better, just felt like I enjoyed it more. It's tough to explain. It felt like that one maybe had a bit more pocketing. Performance-wise, this one just kicks it out of the park. It's just such a great frame in many ways. It's very tough to find downsides with it, even if it's moving maybe more towards the E-zone. I would say it's a little bit less launchy. So the ball goes like this. This one feels like it's more natural for flat hitting players, which I know many of you are out there. So you will then really enjoy the new Aero 100. Very, very good frame, works well on the slice, one-handed backhand feels better with the new throat design. Yeah, what else to say? It's just a good frame overall, and something that I think will remain a bestseller. And this was my favorite in the playtest, even though I am an Aero 98 user from the 2023 version. So I hope that gives you something. So more power, more comfort, cleaner feel. Still maybe prefer the feel slightly of the 2023, but I play better with this one.
I've been trying the Aero 100. Must say it's a really, really good update. Feels more solid, more muted in a positive way. You can still feel the ball, but you have no harsh vibrations whatsoever. It gives good spin, it gives good control, it gives good power. It does everything very good. I don't find any flaws in the new Aero 100 actually. This year racket I could and most probably will switch to. It could be for me a contender as the racket of the year.
You also hear some opinions from Adam here.
The 100 felt really good on my forehand, almost too good. And in the backhand I had no control, so I did have to shorten up my swing.
Yeah, it's a bit lively, even though the pattern is super dense on this one.
Yep.
It's a bit more lively, I would say. And you notice the thickness of the beam. Power is easy here, a little bit more difficult there, but it's not like a low powered racket. I would say the power is a bit better on that one than this. Maybe a tad more?
Yeah, I would say more powerful, but more comfort.
Yeah.
I don't know the stiffness rating or anything. But
They're very similar, like I think it's the same.
But then that just goes to show you it's just a number. Like I think it feels quite more comfortable.
Yeah, and it's RA ratings, obviously, where you measure, it's like 7 different locations, you measure stiffness, and then they put probably the lowest one or the one that looks most, and it's not what tells you the whole story of how the racket's gonna feel or play, you know, because if it's very stiff in the hoop or he has a lot of throat flex, so it's all different.
Yeah.
Adri that tested it with me, he liked the 98 more.
This is the 100 version of that one. And this one is 1619, that one is 1620. And this one is a higher, bigger head size than that one.
Yeah.
And still, this one feels like a tighter string pattern, which
This
is very
is very
strange.
dense, and it's the same for the 2023. The pattern remains very dense on this racket.
And it's strange how a wider string, or let's say less string and more head size, turns out to have a tighter pattern than a more string, less head size. It's a little bit strange to me, but It doesn't mean that it plays better or worse. It's just a little bit strange in my opinion. But this one, I felt like the launch of the ball was lower than the 98. To be 100, you kind of think like it gives a little bit more height over the net, a little bit more spin. I didn't feel like that was the case. I felt like it was lower, and I actually had to do a little bit more with the wrist for the ball to kind of get the shape that I want. With the 98, the ball was getting the shape that I wanted without having to really emphasize on that through the stroke. So interesting, but also a good feeling racket.
I would say the guys that are, have some ATP points or played some tour events, they prefer the 98 over the 100 in this playtest. They like the control more. Every guy I tried it with prefer the 98. Henrik and myself, playing like on advanced club level, we're more into the 100 overall. So that's maybe giving you some kind of idea. It's a matter of taste in the end, but those were some things we noted. And I really noted with the better players I hit with that the 98 was their choice. And now we get to the 98. The Aero 98, I don't have it here because I'm traveling, but great frame. Everyone loved it. Pretty much who tried it with me, like really everyone. I was the only guy who was a little bit on the fence because I liked the 2023 so much. And for me, it was tough to see exactly what was better, but the feel is cleaner, the comfort is improved, the power is a bit higher, you can hit with more confidence on flat shots. I still feel like I miss a bit of launch and explosivity and a little bit of the feel from the 2023. That's kind of what I miss. Maybe there's a crispness to that racket. I feel like this one is a bit more muted maybe in its sensation when you hit the ball. So that part I like more of the 2023, but it might be my personal feelings having played that so much. So good to keep that in mind. Everyone else on the playtest loved the 98, especially preferred it over the previous generation.
I like it. I like this one. I like that one. I feel like this one has a little bit more like power coming off the frame. Like on impact, the ball is kind of has a little bit higher kph on the ball, having the same kind of stroke than the previous, so a little bit more power. However, this one I feel like the ball does a little bit more what I ask it to do, a little bit more precise. I feel like if I have a target on the other side, my target radius of my shot will be narrower. It will be more precise than this one. Maybe it's because the power increases and the control decreases.
Pure Aero 98, that's also a racket that I have been using a lot over the last couple of years. The 2023 version was a very unique racket. It will be a modern classic. It will be a very sought after racket in the years to come. It's a very effective racket, and when Babolat made this new update of the frame geometry, it was a bold move, but I think it paid off pretty good. The 2026 version is, it feels a bit more solid, so to say. A little bit more control. The 2023 version was pretty wild, and you really had to be on your A game to be able to generate enough racket head speed to control the ball. And the 2026 version is more controlled, so you will not get the same effect on the ball, but in a positive way, because you can play more control. The update for players trying this racket as well. You will not get really the same spin, but more control. Power is about the same. It feels not muted, but it feels well dampened, and I think it will be a bestseller for Babolat as well, this version.
I think most players I tried it with who have tried all these versions, they will prefer 2026 over the VS and the 2023.
But my prediction is this is going to be a really popular one, especially with the Wilson coming out, with a similar profile.
Yeah, the Python working name.
But I think this is still going to be the one to beat.
Yeah, I think so too. I think
guess.
these two rackets will be the best sellers of 2026. It's a pretty not so bold prediction, actually. I'm a huge fan of this one. I have 4 of that. I'm not going to sell those. This one is as good, although some people might prefer. There's a bit more like explosivity there. I feel like the string movement is a bit more, so this might be a bit more dependable, this 98, but they're quite similar, so I think it's pretty easy transition.
So I played with the older generation, the VS 98, in our playtests, and this one to me felt the best.
Because you like the VS more than this one, so maybe this one is more close to the VS in a one way.
But I felt more comfort. Yeah, I definitely felt more comfort. I did not feel comfort in the last generation.
No, a lot of players. This is my favorite, probably still. I like the VS2, but a lot of players have issues with this one, with the arm. Like it's supposed to be more dampened, but still players get some issues and trying all kinds of strings, like 20 kilos and you know, whatever.
Yeah, well, this played really well right off the bat. Like I played with the 100, really liked it. Went back to the 98 and liked that one even more. I thought it was perfect.
Yeah, this one, you even when you're slicing, like you were slicing such a deep, heavy slice with it. And this is completely uncustomized frames. We haven't done nothing to them. RPM Blast 130. Here's a 128 restring Vivo, two of my favorite strings. So
I got great touch with the 98. Honestly, the volleys felt really good. The biggest takeaway that I had is the feel. I felt like I could really actually hit full swings with it and have it brought, dip back into the court. Felt good on both sides. The 100 felt really good on my forehand, almost too good. And in the backhand, I had no control. So I did have to shorten up my swing. With
yeah, it's a bit lively. Even though the pattern is super dense on this one, it's a bit more lively, I would say. And you notice the thickness of the beam. Power is easy here, a little bit more difficult there, but it's not like a low-powered racket. I would say the power is a bit better on that one than this. Maybe a tad more.
Yeah, I would say more powerful, but more comfort.
Yeah, I think they clean up some of the issues of the previous 98s, and this would be a bestseller, 100%. I know pros around like 300-400 in the world that gone from other brands and made a switch to this one. They don't even add any weight, even if they play challengers, and they use this racket, the 98, and it's just working for them. So this frame will keep on selling. Well done, Babolat. I was ready to be skeptical the first hit. I wasn't in love with either frame, to be honest, but after dialing it in and trying different strings, playing them side by side, yeah, I can just see that they're just better rackets than the 2023. I might still stick with my 98 from 2023 because of personal reasons and liking that feel a bit more. But if you're just gonna buy a new racket, this should be one of the rackets you have to try, whether you want more sweet spot, a little bit more forgiveness and power with the 100, or if you want more control and whippiness with the 98. These rackets are just brilliant. I think they beat the V-Course, but we'll make some videos detailing the head-to-head because the V-Course also have the 100D, which has a bit of a different profile. But the Aeros will be tough to beat for everyone else. Wilson Pythons, Yonex V-Course, Dunlop SX, and all these other spin rackets, Technifiber Fire that's coming out. It's a very, very competitive landscape, but Babolat, in terms of spin rackets, they're on top still, whether you like it or not. But that's just how it is. They make some really good products recently, and this one is a winner. I hope you enjoyed the review. Please subscribe, please like, turn on notifications, and go to tennisnerd.net to check more. If you want to buy these rackets, please buy them through our affiliate links in the description. That's it for today. Have a nice day now, and don't forget to play some tennis.